You can clear every mouse out of your home using something the Japanese have relied on for generations, and it will not harm your dog, your cat, or a single other animal in the house. Sounds too good to be true? It is not. Almost nobody outside Japan knows this method, and once you see how it actually works, you will never reach for poison or a snap trap again. Stick with me, because the way most people try this is exactly why it fails, and I am going to show you the right way. Let us get into it. Here is the situation in most homes with the mouse problem. People panic, they buy the loudest, harshest thing on the shelf, and they scatter it everywhere. Snap traps in the corners, glue boards under the sink, little trays of blue poison pellets behind the fridge. And for a few days, it feels like progress because you catch a couple. But then the mice keep coming, and now you have a new problem on top of the old one. That poison does not stay where you put it. A mouse eats it, wanders off, dies in the wall, and then your dog finds the body, or a barn cat does, or a hawk outside does. That is called secondary poisoning, and it is the thing that quietly kills the pets and wildlife you were never trying to hurt. And it is worse than just the risk to one pet. A single female mouse can have a new litter roughly every 3 weeks, and those babies are ready to breed in about 6 weeks of their own. So while you are catching 2 or 3 a night and feeling like you are winning, the ones you are not seeing are multiplying behind the drywall faster than any trap can keep up. That is why the snap trap and poison approach feels like an endless war. You are fighting the few you can see while the colony you cannot see keeps growing. Therefore, the only thing that actually ends it is making the entire space somewhere a mouse refuses to live in the first place. So people are stuck. They either live with mice or they put their own animals at risk, and either way, the breeding never really stops. But this is exactly the trap the Japanese method gets you out of, because it does not rely on killing anything inside your walls at all. It works with how a mouse already thinks, and it makes the whole house hostile to them instead of fighting them one body at a time. Now here's where you need to understand the animal, because this is the entire secret. A mouse barely sees. Its eyesight is terrible, almost useless in low light. What a mouse actually lives by is its nose and its whiskers. It navigates your house by smell and by touching edges. It runs along baseboards, not across open floor, because the wall tells its body where it is going. Therefore, if you control the smell along those edges, you control where the mouse will and will not go. That is the whole game. The Japanese figured this out a long time ago, and the tool they reached for was peppermint. Real peppermint, the strong kind, is overwhelming to a mouse. To you, it smells clean and faintly like candy. To a mouse, walking into a wall of it is like you walking into a room packed wall to wall with ammonia. It does not want to be there. It will turn around. And here is the part that makes this method different from the dozen peppermint videos you have probably already seen. Most of those videos fail, and they fail for one simple reason. People do it wrong. Here is the mistake almost everyone makes. They take a bottle of peppermint oil, they put 3 or 4 drops on a cotton ball, they toss it in the middle of the floor, and they wait. Nothing happens. The mouse walks right past it. Why? Because the smell is too weak, it is in the wrong place, and it dries out in a day. A cotton ball in the open floor is not on the mouse highway. The mouse is running the wall. You put the deterrent where the mouse is not, and then you decide the trick does not work. The Japanese approach fixes all 3 problems at once, and the first fix is placement. You never put your peppermint in the open. You put it tight against the wall, in the corners, and right at the little gaps where the wall meets the floor. Those gaps are the doors. That is where the mouse enters and exits every single night along the same route. So you are not chasing the mouse around the house. You are sealing its hallway with a smell it refuses to cross. Walk your house once with this in mind, and you will see the map yourself. Behind the stove and the refrigerator where warm motors and crumbs pull them in, under the kitchen sink, around the pipe that comes through the cabinet floor, because that hole is a 4-lane highway, along the back wall of the pantry, in the corners of the garage where it meets the house. Wherever you have seen a dropping or heard scratching, that wall is a route, and that route gets a station. You are not flooding the whole room. You are placing the deterrent on the handful of edges the mouse is actually using, which is why a little goes a long way when it is in the right spot. The second fix is strength, and this is where the ratio matters. A few drops will not do it. You want a small glass jar, the kind a candle comes in, works perfectly, and you soak a cotton pad until it is genuinely wet with oil, not just dotted. Then you set that open jar in the corner. The jar holds the scent and keeps it from drying out in a few hours. So instead of one weekday, you get a steady week of strong smell pumping out at mouse level. That alone is the difference between a method that fails and a method that clears a room. But strength and placement still are not the complete picture, because a smell fades and a fading deterrent is an invitation. So the third fix is the refresh, and this is the part people quit too early on. You top up the oil every 5 to 7 days. That is it. 5 minutes once a week. Most people do it once, smell nothing by day 3, assume it failed, and give up right before it would have worked. The mice were already starting to reroute. They just needed the wall to stay closed a little longer. Now you might be thinking, peppermint oil still costs money and the title promised no spending. You are right, and this is the upgrade because you almost certainly already have what you need in your kitchen. Fresh peppermint or even strong dried mint steeped in hot water makes a concentrated tea you can soak your pads in. Crushed mint leaves packed into the corners work on the same principle. And here is the secret ingredient that the old method pairs with it, something every kitchen has: white vinegar. Vinegar does 2 jobs at once. A mouse hates the sharp sourness of it almost as much as the mint, so a small open cup of vinegar in the corner doubles your wall of smell for free. But the bigger job is invisible. Mice do not just wander randomly. They follow scent trails, little invisible roads of their own grease and urine that they lay down so the next mouse knows the safe path. Wipe those baseboards and corners down with vinegar, and you erase the road. Now the new mouse shows up, cannot find the trail its cousin left, and hits your peppermint wall on top of that. You have not just blocked the highway, you have torn up the map. And there is one more free thing sitting in your kitchen that the old method loved to add, and it surprises people every time. Used coffee grounds. Do not throw out this morning's grounds. Dry them on a plate and pack a small pile into the corners alongside the mint. The bitter, burnt smell is one more layer a mouse does not want to push through, and unlike the oil, it costs you nothing because you were about to dump it anyway. Stack the mint, the vinegar, and the coffee together along one wall, and you have built a barrier out of 3 things that were already in your house this morning. So now you have the full method. Peppermint soaked strong, set tight in the corners and at the gaps, refreshed weekly with the old scent trail scrubbed away by vinegar underneath it. That combination is what the cotton ball crowd is missing. And it is why theirs fails while this one empties a room. Let me show you how this actually plays out, because the proof is the part that matters. When you set this up correctly, you do not see a pile of dead mice, and that throws people off at first. What you see instead is silence. The scratching in the walls at night stops. The little black droppings behind the toaster stop appearing. The chewed corner of the cereal box stays whole. Within about a week, the activity that was driving you crazy simply goes quiet because the mice did not die in your wall, they left for somewhere that does not smell like a peppermint factory. Run a little flour along the baseboard one night as a tracking patch, and in the morning the prints that used to cut right through it are gone. That is your result, written in the dust. And here is why this matters more than the convenience. Every single thing in this method is safe. If your dog licks a baseboard you wiped with vinegar, nothing happens. If your cat knocks over the peppermint jar, you clean up an oil stain, and that is the worst of it. Your chickens are fine. The hawk that lives in the tree out back is fine because there is no poisoned body for it to find. You solved the mouse problem without creating the secondary problem that store-bought poison creates every time. That is the trade the Japanese figured out generations ago, and it still holds up. One honest note, because I am not going to oversell this. If you have a heavy, established infestation with nests already inside the walls, scent alone will push the adults out, but you may still need to seal the entry gaps with steel wool once they have left, so nothing moves back in. The method clears the house. Closing the doors behind them keeps it clear. Do both, and you are done for good. If this helped you, do me a favor and drop your own mouse fighting trick in the comments, because honestly, the people watching this channel know things I do not, and I read every one of them. Somebody down there has a tip that is going to help the next person. Tell me what has worked in your house. Thanks for watching, and good luck clearing yours out.